no troubles. Out comes the green, racing into turn 1. Trevor Shields races out of turn 2 to lead the pack down the back section. Bob Asom in trouble, but gathers it in again in advance of Rob Rutley in second. Bob Blacklaw holding down third as they race out of turn 4 onto the main straightaway. Trevor Shields, Rob Rutley, Bob Blacklaw, and Rob Worthington in position 4 back then. Bolton, car number 11. Ross Bolton, the 11 car in position 5, but Bob Blacklaw in second now, throwing out the challenge to Trevor Shields as they race off turn 4. Right around the outside goes Blacklaw, picking up Trevor Shields, but Shields tucks in behind. Blacklaw puts a wall up on the cushion, and through goes Trevor Shields to regain the lead. Rob Rutley in third, being challenged on the outside now. In the 98 car of Rob Worthington, Blacklaw again on the outside of Shields as they head down the back section, getting set to move onto the tail enders. Bob Blacklaw, race leader in tonight's Sprintcar main. Heads off turn 4 and accelerates down into turn 1. Trevor Shields now under siege from Rob Worthington. Worthington takes over second. Trevor Shields back in third. And Rob Rutley now tailing the main contenders in position 4. 7 laps completed. 5 remaining now for Blacklaw, the race leader. Heads out of 2, racing down the back section. Worthington getting through into second. Trevor Shields back in position 4 now, with Rob Rutley taking over third running. Closing stages of tonight's Sprintcar main, and the 1, 2 and 3 readouters, Bob Blacklaw, Rob Rutley right up on 2 wheels. Rob Worthington rather, and Rob Rutley into third running. Through goes the leader Blacklaw in the Bars Lee John Sands car. Arthur Cowan has the white flag at the ready. Out to Blacklaw, 11 down, less than 1 remaining. Blacklaw fighting his way through the tail enders, making mincemeat of the field at this stage as Blacklaw makes the final run off turn 4. Oh, walking right up as Blacklaw to take the win in car number 78. Rob Worthington through into second, and completing the 3 Roberts into third is Rob Rutley. Trevor Shields in position 4. Back then to Ross Bolt. Then came John Christie and Steve Brazier Jr. Bob Blacklaw picking up the win in tonight's Sprintcar main. And a very fast time indeed for the 12-lap journey. 12 laps the journey, the win going out to Bob Blacklaw in 78. 3 Roberts taking the 1, 2 and 3 placings. Second to Rob Worthington in car number 98, and Rob Rutley taking the 12 car into third, and a new 12-lap record to Bob Blacklaw. Bob Blacklaw taking the new record of 3 minutes 4.24 seconds. 3 minutes 04.24, and the old record to Graham Donny set way back in 1980 of 3 minutes 28.2. 3 minutes 28.2. So over the 12-lap journey, Bob Blacklaw taking exactly 2 seconds a lap off the old mark. 24 seconds deleted from the track record, now established by Bob Blacklaw at 3 minutes 4.24. 3 minutes 4.24, slicing a mammoth 24 seconds off. A new track record, an Australia Day trophy going out to Bob Blacklaw. The 1, 2 and 3 placings once again in car number 78. Bob Blacklaw with a new 12-lap record. Rob Worthington in for second in car number 98, and in car number 12, the 3 Roberts for Rob Rutley. into third running. Off on pole position, George Tatnall locked in tight from 3. Should be a good one, tonight's final. Let's pick them up off turn 4. Out comes the lead, and racing now. Gary Rush takes the field through turns 1 and 2. Peter Craft up on 2 wheels, takes Ross Bolt with him, and Bolt attempts to keep the double 1 car going, which he does, but stranded on the outfield is Peter Craft, who went straight ahead on the show of the green up through turn 1. Getting set to run in the final. Out comes the green now and again off the bar. Rush jumps away. George Tatnall looks for the run on the inside now. Ross both jumps out in second running, and Dennis Barr and George Tatnall lock horns over on turn 2. Tatnall in third on the inside of an outer straight. Ross both. Rush the leader. Tatnall in second. Ross both third. Dennis Barr is fourth. Rob Worthington the next one through. In advance of Bob Tunks. Trevor Shields back in the pack. Up on the high line and running off turn 4. Gary Rush the leader. Going away with tonight's Division 1 Sprint Car Final. Out of 2 down the back section, George Tatnall looking to close the gap on the long gone number 1 car of Gary Rush. Tatnall with the foot going through the 4 tray now in full pursuit of the number 1 car. No change in the 1, 2 and 3 readout. Gary Rush heading off from George Tatnall and Dennis Barr in the ex-Denny Smith number 3 car. A long gap back to the minor placings now. Oh, Ross both out of shape. A nice save from Robbie Worthington as they race down the back section. But already Gary Rush hot on the trail of the tail enders already. Heading through the back section of the pack as he leads now by 1/4 of a lap over George Tatnall on the Winfield number 5 car. Up on the high line, kicking off the cushion as Rush down the back section. George Tatnall the next one through with a long way back to Tatnall. And likewise Dennis Barr, Warbeck in third running. It's all Gary Rush in tonight's Division 1 Sprint Car Final. This is PCR, the action track, Sprint Car City. In the Winfield number 5 car, and Dennis Barr placed third in the number 3 car. Kev Worthington, Trevor Shields also finishing in car number 17. The front end, the right hand front end of Rob Worthington's car collapsing as he crossed the wire with still 1 lap left to travel, but it was Gary Rush in the Australia number 1 car. 10 laps was the journey. The event just concluded. Tonight's Bert Jones and Sons racing car Division 1 Sprint Car Final, a 10-lap journey. We're looking very hard at the race time here, Stuart.
Well, another race record to Gary Rush tonight, taking 9.5 seconds off a November 1982 time from Bobby Tunks. 2 minutes 20.27 seconds the race time. 2 minutes 20.27 seconds, a new track record to Gary Rush for 10 laps. All right, the green flag flies. We have a start. Bob Walsh, wheels high into the air as carried air. A lot of the cars lifting up wheels as they race into turn 1 and 2 first time round. 12 laps the racing distance on. Bob Walsh, 2 wheels, the big bicycle coming out of turn number 4. Welcome back to racing, Bobby Walsh. Oh, there goes Bob Hill up on 2 wheels. Boy, oh boy, they got light air pressures or something in the tyres tonight. Cars taking a pretty rough ride as in the early laps of this 12-lapper. There's Bob Walsh the leader. Bob Asom now in the 4X car. Takes it around the outside of Walsh looking for the race lead. Mowat in there in 71, runs into third. Stephen Gould charging hard also and moves up to 4th place. Here comes Gary Stacey. Bob Asom, the race leader, as Stephen Gall goes to the inside line, takes over second running from fourth to second in one foul swoop. Here comes Stacey, still charging, moves up on the inside of Mowat and Walsh to take over third running. Callahan off the track, down the back straight, back to the pits. John Barrett in the rush car number 2, further back, finding his way in the Trossel. Around goes Ken Fowler in car number 22, right in turn 1 as the pack comes charging in. But he rolls back and is safe and out of the way. Is the Alright, the field's set to go and the green flag runs. Bob Asom ahead of Stephen Gore, Gary Stacey. The top 3, Bob Wells put back the 4th in the 92 machine. Dennis Mowat, Gary Winterbottom in the 33 car. They're the transfer positions at this point. John Kelly from Queensland, 1 posse out. Looking forward to getting onto the inside and taking 6th place away. Is he? No, not at this stage. Kelly trying hard. Stephen Gould, low, slides up high, nearly taking the tail out of Bob Asom's car in the 4X. The 2 cars having a great dice for the race leading. Oh, and around goes Bob Asom in the 4X car. Asom spinning in turn number 1.
Looking for the green this time, back to Stewart.
Gary Stacey now inherits lead in 76 as the 2 leading cars go out of the event. So Stacey walks into the race lead and he's going to accept that. Thank you. So Bob Walsh now back up into 2nd position. Dennis Mowat, John Kelly, Gary Winterbottom, Bob Asom working his way back in the 4X car of the transfer cars at this stage. John Barrett looking for a transfer. He's fighting it out with Kerry Adair further back in the pack. Asom in the 4X car looking to get on the inside of Gary Winterbottom in the 33 machine. He slides by on the inside to take over 5th running. Gary Winterbottom now in the bump position in car 33 as Stacey scorches away with this one. Bob Walsh settling down in the 92 car. Fowler in 22 with some shaky problems in the rear end. Looks like a shock absorber could have gone out of that one. Still Stacey the leader. John Barrett after moving up, putting, and there goes the checkered flag. Gary Stacey ahead of Bob Walsh in 92, Mowat. Close one there as Bob Asom picks up 4th place. John Kelly gets 5th. Gary Winterbottom knocked back as John Barrett came through to take 6th place in car number 2 and gets the transfer to the main event.
Okay, forming up over on the back section. Kelly indeed starting from the front row along with Bob Walsh as they race off turn to 4. Racing in the network 10, telephone stern feed. 20 laps the journey at PCR as they go through turns 1 and 2. 4 and 5 wide. Sprintcar City action. Down the back section, Gary Rush pouring on the coals through from the back. But the race leader off turn 4, the end of lap 1. There's Bob Walsh in car number 92, Gary Stacey, George Tatnell coming out of the pack in the Winfield car, and Gary Rush already with 1 1/4 laps into the journey up to position 4. In advance of John Kelly from Queensland, jumping out now is Dennis Bale, the number 3 car. Out of turn 2 they race down the back section now, George Tatnell gathering up Bob Walsh on the outside, and Tatnell goes to the lead in the Winfield 5 car. Gary Rush also on the inside of Walsh in his 2nd running. Tatnell, Rush and Walsh running 1, 2 and 3. The wing beginning to collapse now on the Kev Worthington second car further back in the pack as Gary Rush moves up to within striking distance of the race leader George Sadnell. Walsh looking in third place to hold them back now, but Gary Rush gets a slingshot off turn 2, running wheel to wheel with George Sadnell through turn 4, and Gary Rush goes to the lead. Highlighting through turns 1 and 2, and Gary Rush takes over the lead in the 10 Network Olympic Telethon Sprint Car Stampede. George Sadnell on the Winfield car relegated to second. Bob Walsh being challenged on the outside now by Dennis Barr. Dennis Barr goes through to take third running. Bob Walsh the next one through, back to Gary Stacey and Rob Worthington and Trevor Searles. But it's all Gary Rush and George Sadnell now as they go through the tail enders, but calling the shots up front with a clean set of goggles. And the Australia number 1 car at PCR Sprint Car City is Gary Rush. Dennis Barr still in third place, and the number 3 car makes a run down the back section. Still trying to close the distance between himself and the race leader Rush, but to no avail. Gary Rush is going right away. Rob Worthington and the number 98 car moves into fourth running and goes around on turn 1, ringing on the amber caution lights. Rob Worthington, who just moved through to secure fourth running, goes round back to front on turn 1, so the amber caution lights going out of Mice and Men as they come through turns 3 and 4. Out comes the green and racing again, 10 down, 10 to go. Tatnell takes a swipe at Rush, but Rush absconds into the distance. Slingshotting off turn 2 down the back section. A 1, 2 and 3 readout repeats itself. Oh, George Sadnell goes right out of the ballpark on turn 3, and that's all that Dennis Barr needed. Oh, it's Trevor Searles and car number 7 has appeared to have cooked a motor. Looks like a motor going for Trevor Searles in 17 as Rush comes through. Up on the high line, Dennis Barr in second, and now George Sadnell cursing himself back in third in the Winfield number 5 car. Bob Walsh still in fourth, in advance of Gary Stacey and Rob Worthington. Dennis Barr backing the 3 car up through turn 1. George Sadnell going on the low line. Bob Walsh drops back now as Gary Stacey goes through to position 4. And Rob Worthington climbs through to position 5. 15 laps completed and 5 remaining. 15 down, 5 remaining in the Telethon Sprint Car Stampede, PCR Action Track Sprint Car City. Through goes Rush, picking them up, putting them down through the tail enders. Down the back section they run with Gary Rush now as John Kelly goes back to the pit enclosure and out of the race. Kelly back to the pits, out of the race, through goes Dennis Barr in the number 3 car. Oh, Gary Rush locking up tight on that turn 1 but pulls it back down again as Steve Blazer Jr. gets out of shape also. In the number 21 car, off goes Worthington, instant replay second time around. Yellow flags coming out. Rob Worthington hooking up on the slick conditions on the run up to turn 1, and once again instant replay backs the number 98 car. Them up off turn 3. Tatnell looks for the jump on the inside as the green comes out, and the race is on again. Tatnell gets by on the inside of Dennis Barr, but Barr takes a slingshot run off turn 2 and fights back. Wheel to wheel, Rush the leader. Tatnell and Barr halfway around, and 3 goes Tatnell. Oh, and Dennis Barr with both wheels right off the deck in the 3 car. Dennis Barr lifting right up in the air. PCR, the action track, Rush going away. And around goes Dennis Barr, but picks it up to continue on in third running. George Sadnell back in second now. Arthur Cowan has the white flag at the ready. direction is Chadwell, but already the race leader onto the main straight away with a white flag out. 19 laps completed, less than one remaining, and the Australian #1 car, Gary Rush, yet another win on the board at PCR, looking for the black and white, and Gary Rush picks up the Olympic Telethon Sprintcar Stampede right here at Sprintcar City. The Gary Rush fans have absolutely erupted. Into second place is George Tatnell, third to Dennis Farr. Bob Tunks blowing clouds of blue smoke spewing out of the car as he crosses the wire, and the Gary Rush fans are absolutely elated as Rush picks up yet another one at Sprintcar City. Second place to George Tatnell, and third place to Dennis Farr. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the Parramatta City Raceway. Highlighting tonight's race meeting is the annual Peter Dickerson Sprint Car Memorial. And Ross Bolt from the #1 car, brother Rob Worthington in 98. Out comes the green and racing in the Sprint Car Consolation. Up through turns 1 and 2, and Bob Walsh goes round the outside. Big problems for Rollins as he comes to a halt right in the middle of the pack. Drops out to tail the field, but Bob Walsh, the leader, off turn 4. Onto the main straightaway.
Okay, the yellow light's coming on. Paul Rollins comes to a stop down the back straight. Okay, here it flies. There goes the green and Carry It Air. Car number 96 into turn 1. High in the air with the front wheel. Bobby Walsh in the 92 machine runs down the back straight in second. Here comes Kev Worthington. Looking for third place on the outside. Here's Bob Acem in the 4X car. Takes down third place ahead of Worthington. There's the other Worthington, brother Rob, running fifth. Further back, Melinda Moore. White moving on the inside now of Melinda Moore, takes over 6 running as the race lead is being held on Carry It Air in the 56 machine running. Oh, Bob Acem high in the air with 2 wheels. Big bicycle for Bob Acem as he runs off the back of the track, loses 3 spots, gets back onto the racetrack now. The Professor, Rob Worthington, backs it into turn number 1, racing down the main to back straight now goes to Wortho. Car number 98, track champion last summer, having a lean time of this year, looking good tonight. Bobby Walsh drops back to third. Here comes Acem trying to pick up the places, has picked up 1. The Professor, Worthington, moves up to the tail of Carry It Air. Here goes the challenge for the race leader, Dare. A lot of smoke out of the Dare's car. Worthington on the inside. Worthington punching the throttle, looking for the way down on the inside. It's not there. There goes Worthington. The Dare goes racing off the track. Bangs it into the concrete wall, goes over on his side. Carry It Air, car number 56. Okay, there goes the green flag. The Professor. Rob Worthington running away with it this time. There's no competition coming from Bob Walsh in the 92, who's doing a great job. Second time out this summer for Bob Walsh, and he's doing a fine job running second. Kev Worthington, the next car through, is 49, followed by Bobby Acem in the 4X car. The Professor, 1 lap to go as the white flag flies. Bruce White running further back ahead of Ross Bolt, Melinda Moore tailing the pack, but here he comes, the Professor, picks up the checkered flag ahead of Bob Walsh. Kev Worthington, Bob Acem, Bruce White, Ross Bolt, Melinda Moore as they finish across the line, and the Professor's too excited to pick up the checkered flag. He's going back to the pits to say, put off the trip to Fiji. And out comes the green and racing in tonight's sprint car semi-main.
locking up tight as they run 3 and 4 wide down the back section. And to bring you tonight's semi-main, here's Stuart Telfer.
Thanks, Al. Bob Hill is the race leader, but it's a race and a half with Steve Brazier Jr. running hard in second. Hill wide in the car as it tosses and turns out of the turn now down the back straight, and Bob Hill is the race leader ahead of Steve Brazier. Gary Stacey on the inside looking for second position, but Junior Brazier is doing a fine job. Here comes Bruce White with the challenge on the outside. Bob Asom there in the 4X car is running fifth. They're the top 5 cars, and that's where the action's coming from. As Gary Winterbottom and Melinda Moore work it out a little bit further back. Oh, and Stacey with a wild manoeuvre down the main straight. Bruce White on the inside has taken over second from Brazier. And now Bruce White, almost right at the tail of Bob Hill's car as we see Melinda Moore has spun and the yellow lights come on. Bob Hill seeing the yellow lights. Bruce White not quite catching it as he was eyes on the racetrack watching the tail. Yes, the green flag this time round. Bruce White pushes away through on the inside of Brazier. Brazier goes to the outside, looks to pull up as alongside Bob Hill. There's no gap there. Bruce White comes on the inside. This could be hectic as they work their way through 3 and 4. White goes to the race lead and over goes Brazier.
Well, Arthur Cowan's down there, and Arthur Cowan's giving the thumbs up, so we can assume at this stage, yes, I think you can put your hands together, at least from what we can see, for encouragement for Steve Brazier Jr. A monumental one here at PCR. Okay, again we'll ask the people to move right back from that area because the crash crew and the recovery units are in attendance there. Okay, he's climbing out of the car, but if you'd like to put your hands together to show your appreciation and encouragement for a big one from Steve Brazier Jr.
Bob Hill is struggling to pick up the race win here. He's being attacked by everyone. Sees the green flag flying. Here we go racing again. Gary Stacey to the inside. Oh, as a repeat of Stacey goes on the inside. On the outside looking for the way around the 2 cars was Bob Asom. And now Stacey on the inside has kept the race lead as they come off turn 4. Hill and Asom now, the 2 red cars running second and third. Asom on the outside, Hill not having a good night with the handle department of the 88 car. The 2 gambler cars race down into turn 3, but don't do it neatly. Success for Asom as he runs on the outside, takes over second running. Bob Hill dropped back to third. Asom now chasing the leader, Gary Stacey in the 76 car. With 5 laps to go. Melinda Moore having her second spin of the race. Brings out the yellow flag. Green flag flies. Gary Stacey, the race leader, ahead of Asom, Bob Hill and Gary Winterbottom. Asom on the outside looking for a way. Stacey moves up, shortens the track for Asom as they race out of turn 4. Asom with a nice line takes the race lead. Car number 4X, Bob Asom the driver. Stacey and Hill running second and third. Gary Winterbottom 4th. Peter Haddard along for the ride. Scream in the 4X car as he comes around, takes off turn 4 nicely down the main straight. Another lap into the books for Bob Asom. Oh, nice. White flag coming out now for Asom. Should go to the wire, an easy winner of this one. Gary Stacey crosses for second. Bob Hill recuperates from the last lap to be still running third ahead of Winterbottom. Peter Haddard still along for the ride. As the checkered flag comes out, Bob Asom the winner. Stacey picks up second. Third to Bob Hill. Bo Repairs brought us tonight's sprint car semi-main. First to the feature. And it will go down to the books to be remembered as the one that Steve Brazier Jr. in his rookie year of sprint car racing at PCR took a wild one. Put your hands together, nice win there for Bob Asen. Bob Asen Racing, the sponsor, out of Bering Road, Seven Hills. Call in and see Bob and Lorraine. Only be too happy to let you have a look at a few of their race cars.
Buy one if you like.
Yeah, always one on special.
Can do a deal. I don't know about the bank card, but it want to be a good one.
Better take bank card and your American Express there.
At least. Congratulations to Bob Asen picking up an eventful, in inverted commas, sprint car semi-main. Bob Asen, the winner in the 4X car from the Asen Racing Stables, 4 Bow Repairs. Gary Stacey, well placed in second in the 76 car. And it's not too many drivers that can pass Gary Stacey on the outside on turn 4, but Bob Asen pulled off a good one on that occasion. Bob Hill, certainly with the miseries tonight in the 88 car, back in third place at the show of the black and white. So the 1, 2 and 3 readout, 4, 76 and 88 for tonight's sprint car semi-main. Gary Stacey back in the pit enclosure in the 76 car, up on pole position. And the 49 car in the crossroads shed is Kev Worthington. Joining him on the outside from position 2, sharing the front row, is Bob Asen in the 4X car. Locked in tight from position 3 is Stan Wallace. And on the outside, Bob Walsh in car number 92. This is the 1984 Peter Dickinson Sprint Car Memorial at PCR. 20 laps is the journey, and there's already broken cars, and up and over goes Gary Rush before the green flag. Cars locked up tight on the run to the green. 4 cars left facing the oncoming traffic, and upside down is Gary Rush. All drivers keen to be first to see the green flag coming out at turn 4, and on that occasion several drivers only too keen. The result, Gary Rush upside down on turn 4, so the cars now completely block the circuit. Coming down into turn 4, the crews racing to attend to their drivers, and recovery units being moved into position. Crash crew have the job on their hands as they wind their way through the stranded race cars on turn 4. And Gary Rush now back, the car being back on all fours, adjacent to turn 4. Our view momentarily blocked. We can only assume at this stage that Gary is unharmed. It wasn't a heavy tumble for Gary, so we assume that Gary is okay. Let's hope the car is too. The crew now checking over.
Now able to track Ken Jenkins, the chief steward, to find out what's going to happen. Certainly starting it off, there were several cars involved. One of the cars on the low line seemed to have a bad start. He was run over the top of by another machine. That car then was hit by another. A couple went around, as you all picked that up by this stage, and then one went backwards right up the track and tagged Gary Rush as Rush tried to go past on the outside.
And George's second string car on the circuit now, a Stanton car, looking for the green once again and racing a 20-lap journey, and already instant replay. Cars going round almost identical fashion to the first start on tonight's card. Hey, Rob Worthington returns to the pit enclosure. Again, Jenkins has the protest flag. And protest flag being displayed to Bob Tunks in the 54 car, who has been instructed to recommence racing from the rear, or commence racing from the rear. Laps will be the journey at the show of the green for the 1984 Peter Dickinson Sprint Car Memorial Classic at PCR.
Okay, out comes the green and racing up on two wheels in the 77 car. Was Sid Moore racing 4 and 5 wide, 20 laps the journey, the 1984 Peter Dickinson Memorial, and the amber caution lights on display before one lap is completed. Left facing the oncoming traffic was George Tatnall, and the second string Winfield number 12 car. Bob Tunks in car number 54 getting set to race as they come down through 3 and 4, looking for the green once again, racing in 1984 Peter Dickinson Sprintcar Memorial up through turns 1 and 2. Kev Worthington, the race leader of the early run through turn 2, but jumping out as Bob Acem in car number 4. Stan Wallace has absolutely stopped over on the back section but goes safely to the outfield. Bob Acem the leader, first time out of turn 4, cars all over the circuit as the track slickens out. Acem the leader, Kev Worthington in second. In the 92 car, Bob Walsh jumps out to secure third. Dennis Parr the next one through. Back then to Peter Craft on the inside. George Tatnall fighting his way through. But around goes Tatnall. George Tatnall goes around. Out comes the amber caution lights. Okay, out comes the green, racing this time onto the main straightaway. Kev Worthington snatches the lead. Bob Acem relegated to second as Dennis Farr makes the fire out of the pack. Bob Tunks has an easy run on the outside to take over fourth running. Bob Walsh the next one through, locked in tight as they go through 3 and 4. Right up on two wheels with Sid Moore, and they're coming together. Trevor Shields and Terry Becker disputing track rights further back in the pack. And around goes Bob Acem, just getting through on the inside. Make that the outside was Dennis Farr. Also quick to take advantage of some slow cars down the back section was Terry Becker in the 55 car. Sid Moore executes the 350, but 360 rather, and races on in the 77 car. Meanwhile, Bob Tunks has jumped out as race leader in car number 54. Sid Moore continues the ballet up on turn 1, but this time the motor goes off the 77 car. Bob Tunks the leader. And it's Sid Moore who attempted to keep the 77 car in motion, but unfortunately fluffed out up there on turn 1. Okay, there's the green flag flying once again, and Bob Tunks takes the field up through turns 1 and 2. Heads down the back section out of 2 to lead in advance of Dennis Farr in the 3 car. Coming out of the pack now is Terry Becker in car number 55. Drivers moving up onto the high line, trying to put the big outside rear up on the cushion and get the drive as Tunks leads from 2. No change in the 1, 2 and the 3 readout. Terry Becker trying to haul in Bob Tunks and second man Dennis Farr. Back then to Bob Walsh. Trevor Shields in 17. Bob Walsh takes the 92 car out of the race as Bob Tunks leads the 1984 Peter Dickinson Memorial. Dennis Farr in car number 3 in second, no change further back to Terry Becker in 55. Then comes Kev Worthington, Trevor Shields, under siege from Bob Acem in the number 4 car. Picks up Peter Craft, and the both drivers continue on. Back then to Gary Winterbottom in the 33 car. Then Sid Moore is last of all. Race leader Bob Tunks moving up onto the first of the tail enders, of course, which is Sid Moore in car number 77. And Dennis Farr now's moved up to within striking distance of Bob Tunks. Terry Becker dropping back momentarily, and a long gap back now to Kev Worthington. Trevor Shields still hanging in there on the 17 car as Bob Tunks winds his way through the tail enders, followed by Dennis Farr, who's balked momentarily looking for the way through. Bob Tunks leading the way from Dennis Farr and Terry Becker in third. They are well clear now of Trevor Shields, who jumps out in the fourth running from Kev Worthington. Bob Acem putting the number 4 car over the edge on midway between turns 1 and 2. Lifting right up on 2 wheels after the spin, but dropping back harmlessly on all 4s. Amber caution light coming out now. Bob Tunks the leader. In the
Peter Dickerson Memorial, and the drivers fighting hard at the moment to get the job done as the track slickens out after the heavy racing taking its toll at the moment. Bob Tunks in the 54 car anxiously eyeing the temperature gauge on the Borden Chemicals Valvoline Chevy, and again he's got the field brought right up nose to tail, and right on the tail of the 54 car is Dennis Farr in car number 3. Trevor Shields making a clear run on the inside for himself as they go down through turns 3 and 4 in the hands of the starter. No go this time. The 54 car from Dennis Farr and Terry Becker in car number 55, now spread eagling the field, 1, 2 and 3. Trevor Shields jumps out on the 17 car in advance of Kev Worthington. Sid Moore now moving from the back of the pack in the 77 car, heading off from the 33 car of Gary Winterbottom. Asom is last of all as Tunks. Oh, and blowing a motor is Dennis Farr, it would seem. Shutting down quickly the 3 car, going up onto the infield. Certainly appeared to be a blown motor from Dennis Farr, a cloud of white smoke, and the number 3 car goes to the infield. Bob Tunks still the leader, and now with the demise of Farr, Bob Tunks has a big lead. Trouble at the moment, Sid Moore blowing a tyre in car number 77 and causing a few problems further back in the pack. Kev Worthington also going around in car number 49. Out comes the green as they race off turn 4 once again with Bob Tunks taking the green and heads up through turns 1 and 2, leading off from determined Terry Becker in the 55 car, who puts the tail off on the cushion down the back section now and chases Bob Tunks onto the main straightaway. This time it's Kev Worthington backing off the circuit in the 49 car. Once again as Tunks in the 54 car. No change. Becker and Shields in third. Remaining now, Bob Tunks in the 54 car from Terry Becker, and now Trevor Shield under siege from Peter Kraft in the 86 car, and Kraft battling it out now with Kev Worthington and Trevor Shields, and Bob Asom still in there in the 4 car, but well back now, right up on the outfield went Peter Kraft. Kev Worthington fighting back on the inside. Terry Becker safe in second at the moment. Of course, Bob Tunks looking for that white flag, but the race still on for third with Trevor Shields. Kev Worthington and Peter Kraft. Bob Asom still in there. Trevor Shields jumps out in third with the white flag going out to Bob Tunks from Terry Becker in car number 55. And Trevor Shields in the 13 car. Out comes the black and white, and Bob Tunks takes his first win of the season in car number 54, picking up the memorial event, the Peter Dickerson Sprintcar Memorial going to Bob Tunks. Second place, Terry Becker in car number 55. And third to the wire, Trevor Shields in car number 17. The Peter Dickerson Memorial. Stuart Tolfer moving down trackside for
the presentation of the Dickerson Memorial. As you can see, very much overheated race car of Bob Tuck's finally taking the black and white in the Peter Dickerson Memorial car number 54. The cars lining up 1, 2 and 3.